Your mama, she was saying things. She would sit, but she wasn't talking to him.
We found it in her pocket. She didn't believe in God.
The dark and the wicked director swore this scene was cut, but we found it. What does it reveal about the ending? You won't believe your eyes. The film begins with an old woman living with her sick husband, who is in critical condition. She takes care of him alone. One day, while working in her room, she hears a sudden noise from her husband's room. Alarmed, she rushes to check on him. Just then, the eerie howl of a wolf echoes outside, sending shivers down her spine. Outside, all the wolves on her farm begin to panic, running in different directions. It becomes clear that an ominous presence, a drowning evil spirit, has entered her farm, and as the old woman continues her tasks in the kitchen, a chair behind her suddenly moves back on its own. She realizes that the spirit is nearby. The next day, her children, Louis and Michael, arrive to visit their parents. From her conversation with their mother, it is evident that there is tension between them and that they do not share a close bond. The old woman asks them to leave the house, but refrains from revealing the presence of the malevolent spirit, which has haunted their home for years. That night, the siblings sit outside, reflecting on their past mistakes. They regret being so consumed by their lives that they neglected their parents, failing to provide them with the love and attention they needed. Later, when Louis closes the door, it mysteriously opens on its own. As she looks around in confusion, the evil spirit stands there, visible only to their mother. During dinner, their mother warns Michael that the house is filled with darkness and urges them to leave. Michael, however, dismisses her words and heads to his room. After dinner, while their mother is in the kitchen, the chair moves again and she begins to cry, overwhelmed with exhaustion and fear. She grips a knife in her hand, but the next morning, Louis and Michael are devastated to find that their mother has taken her own life. They remove her body, and soon, the police arrive. The siblings are consumed with grief and sit quietly at their father's feet, struggling to process their loss. Their neighbor, also saddened by their mother's tragic death, expresses his sorrow that a nurse who cared for their father mentions that their mother often muttered to herself, as if she were speaking to someone. This revelation makes Louis realize how difficult things must have been for their parents. Overcome with regret, she decides to take responsibility for her father's care. She enters her mother's sewing room and finds an unfinished wedding gown, which deepens her sadness. While bathing, Louis hears footsteps in the bathroom. Thinking it's Michael, she calls out, but no response comes. When she pulls back the curtain, she is horrified to see her father standing there in an eerie state. She trembles in fear, shutting her eyes and screaming. When Michael comes to check, he finds no one in the bathroom, and their father is asleep in his bed, as usual. Though deeply disturbed by what she saw, Louis convinces herself it was just her imagination. Later, Michael searches their father's room and finds their mother's diary under his bed. As they read it, they discover chilling entries about the drowning soul that was slowly consuming their father. Their mother had desperately sought help, but received none. Reading this, Louis breaks down in tears. The diary's accounts align with the strange occurrences in the house, yet they still cannot understand why their mother ended her own life. As they continue reading, they find that their mother could hear the spirit's voice and feel its presence. Seeking answers, they visit the doctor who examined their mother's body. He hands them a cross found in their mother's pocket. The revelation unsettles them, as their mother was never particularly religious. Their anxiety grows. That night, as Louis tends to their father, he begins coughing violently, and to her horror, a spider crawls out of his mouth. Michael arrives at that moment and asks if everything is all right. Shaken, Louis nods and dismisses the incident. Later, Michael experiences something terrifying. As he prepares to sleep, his room's lights flicker. Checking for any disturbances, he sees their mother floating in the air, smiling at him. Suddenly, the lights go out, and her eerie voice fills the room. When he turns the light back on, she is gone. The next morning, Lewis receives a disturbing phone call. When she picks up, she hears her mother's voice. Michael then encounters their neighbor, who seems to know about the supernatural occurrences. The neighbor reveals that their mother used to visit him, which confuses Michael since their mother had never mentioned it. As the neighbor tries to help them, the spirit attacks him. It takes the form of Lewis and inflicts deep wounds on the neighbor's body, hypnotizing him into taking his own life. The siblings realize that the spirit has the ability to force people to end their own lives, just as it did with their mother and now their neighbor. Determined to uncover the truth, they step outside to check for their father's footprints, hoping to confirm whether he had left the house the night before. However, they find nothing. Troubled by the worsening situation, they decide to send their father to a hospital. Lewis calls a man who claimed to have known their mother, but when she tells him how they got his number, he is confused. He insists that he has never met their mother and that he lives in another country. Shockingly, he also reveals that he once had a daughter named Lewis, who had taken her own life. The revelation unsettles Lewis, and she quickly hangs up the phone. The siblings consult a doctor about their father's condition. The doctor warns them that their father is too weak to travel and that moving him could be fatal. His nurse also pleads with them, saying that their father needs their love and that their mother suffered greatly in their absence. When Lewis and Michael return to the farm, they find a horrifying scene: dead, mutilated animals scattered around. Realizing that no ordinary wolves could have caused such carnage, they suspect the spirit. They gather the bodies and burn them in a large fire. The gruesome sight leaves Michael deeply emotional. He vows to protect his pregnant wife and family, choosing to stay with Lewis and their father. That night, Michael hears a voice coming from the farm. When he investigates, the spirit appears in their mother's form and whispers something in his ear, nearly compelling him to take his own life with a knife. However, he resists with all his strength. Meanwhile, Lewis has a terrifying dream in which the spirit lurks around her, scaring her awake. The following morning, Michael is nowhere to be found. Panicked, Lewis searches for him, only to realize that he has abandoned them in fear for his life. Heartbroken, she receives a visit from the neighbor's granddaughter. However, she soon understands that this, too, is the spirit in disguise, tormenting her. It is revealed that their mother had made a pact with Satan, promising him their souls to complete a ritual. The spirit had resided in their father, ensuring the family's demise. Anyone who came into contact with it met the same fate. With this chilling revelation, the film concludes. Ghost still confused about the ending? Don't worry, even the actors were. Faced with tears of joy, let's argue about it below, and hit subscribe for more chaos. Thanks for watching.